Oh, hey, look at that. Cool. We got lights.
Boosted.
Boosted. All right, here we go. Attempt number 50. Did it turn off on its own?
Yeah.
All right, guys, welcome back. We are continuing with the Bonneville here. Made some progress already. We just started working on it until we had something to show. So we made our new gasket. This is for the Supercharger. The previous gasket, here, I'm stepping on it.
Oh, shit.
It's fine. It's trash. What you can see here is it actually had like an inch above this, like it doesn't fit it.
Yeah,
right.
This is not a fitting gasket, and then
Like,
that was a problem, and so we basically took it to the absolute edge right here, and then RTV'd it.
And we couldn't cut any more of this because it literally goes up to that point. So we made a new one, extended it. This is 7.5 inches long entirely, and yeah, it fits much better. Yeah, you got it. Don't rip it.
This stuff is actually really cheap too.
Yeah, so
for anyone wanting to make their own gaskets,
we'll just drill holes for the bolts and then the PCV on both, which those ones aren't even really important, and then the bypass. Literally the bypass and the PCV are the important ones. These two are blocked off. EGR is blocked off.
Yeah, so I think we're just gonna leave these 3 holes here, or not cut them out, because I mean, like he said, you know, these are blocked off, and that's the EGR is deleted. So there's really no need for it.
Yep.
Freaking like nearly cut myself under the car getting the oil pan off. The transmission lines have zip ties that are like razor blades.
Yep. So we got the oil pan off just to clean it.
I didn't even look in it. I just immediately set it down and just like, I'm in pain. So let's look at it.
That's not bad. Looks like oil. There is new droplets in there, you know.
This gasket's not doing well. I might have to go get a new one.
Bullshit. Be careful with it in case we do need to reuse it.
But yeah, actually, not as much nacho cheese as I was expecting.
Yeah, I was expecting a lot, but that looks fine.
But still gonna
not
take the
fine.
weightage tray up. Yeah,
definitely not fine. Like there's water droplets there and there and there.
But not as much as I was expecting.
Yeah.
I expected it to be like caked on every surface, like how it is here. But yeah,
and then you can see under here. All the rotating assembly. It doesn't look so bad. Definitely.
Is any of it caked with the...
There's a little bit of coolant, but we can just like dab it up with paper towel or something.
Okay. Hopefully we can get some oil flowing from up top as well over all that stuff.
Yeah. And then he got all new oil pan bolts because these ones are trash.
Trash.
Like half of them don't work. They rounded off like half of them to get them off.
They only work with like a specific 3/8.
Yeah.
It's not 8 mil. It's not 10 mil.
So
it's
bad.
not 9. It's like a specific 3/8, but not all our 3/8 sockets work for it. So I just got all new bolts for that. And then they share some of those same bolts are in the timing cover, but there's not enough to replace those two. But
you know,
I can wrote them down. I can get more.
Well, I was just thinking with this gasket, maybe like one of those craft tools, you know, the hole punches. Hole punches would be good for this to get the bolts out.
That actually would be.
But we don't got one, as far as I know. Definitely not that big. But it's something to think about, I guess, if we need to do this again.
For a big one, maybe you could just like hole punch like it several times.
I think I'm just going to drill these out with my drill. Like place it on some cardboard and just drill through it. But yep, he's getting that cleaned up, and then we can get the gasket on. Then I need to make a gasket for the intercooler, but that will be even easier than this because it's just not a lot of cutting. Not a lot of like, it's a bunch of straight lines versus this where there's like turns everywhere.
Yeah, these gaskets are gonna be way better. And that material is only like $7 at we got this specifically at the hardware store.
And literally we can still keep this because there are tinier things we can make gaskets out of.
Yeah,
with this.
and then we have another roll that we're gonna use because this is only gonna work for one side. It's only long enough for that.
Yeah, there's stuff.
That was disgusting. Again only $7 at AutoZone, so
yep.
I'd recommend using that shit. Except that stuff smells like ass, so maybe not.
Yep. So we're just going to clean out the oil pan and just dab up all the condensation on the rotating assembly, and then yeah, he's cleaned up the surface. I'll get the other gasket made, and then we can start putting everything back together.
Literally, there is still RTV caked on this damn thing from like 2 times ago. just
So
years
great.
of RTV. This is just RTV is never fun to get off. It's just the worst thing to work with. So if you
Like, we could RTV all of this, but it's a huge pain to get off.
If it's something that you'll ever have to take off, trust me, not worth using RTV unless for like a differential. I've heard that it's like better to use RTV than a gasket on a diff.
Gotcha.
Hey guys, I got the front and back valve cover off. I've also got the oil pan cleaned up, the lineage tray cleaned up as well. Not too much was caked in there, but enough I wanted to wipe it all out. But let me get up on the car. This is really the only good way to see into the back. There's also the only good way to get on the get the back spark plugs out. Literally have to sit on this cross beam and then kind of look over, kind of lay on top of the engine. Supercharger makes a comfortable bed to lay on to when it's on. So as I kind of expected, and probably as so did you can see there's definitely more mixed water and oil in this valve cover since how the car is sitting, since it's up on a jack stand. But yeah, you can see that. So I think I'm going to try and get as much out as I can with with some paper towels, maybe a rag. Got this valve cover off too. It's only lightly caked because I cleaned it recently. This is the PCV system, not the PCV system, the breather system that Davis set up. I think he already showed it, but I think it's really cool. He's actually just getting his waifu. And this is what the back one looks like since it hasn't been cleaned. Looks great. Love all that nacho cheese in my oil. But yeah, we will be back.
All right, guys, we have oil pan back on. We're using those new bolts.
Oh, these zip ties are hurting me.
There's a lot of like
Sharp.
hose clamps and zip ties down here that are just slicing up as gloves.
Been cut on my face twice. Not actually cut, but
Yeah, we had to remove this oil level sensor. I think that's what it is, or oil temp sensor, to get the oil pan back on because the pickup tube was hitting it. But now that it's back on, we can get the motor mount on and the balancer on, and then we can just put the rest of the accessories back on. Put the top on.
yeah.
All the lower intake manifold, the gaskets, new gaskets, supercharger.
We'll
Get the
probably-
fuel lines hooked back up, intake, belt system, and then we should be good to go.
We'll probably put the rest of the 5-quart oil we have in there and then drain it and then put the other 5 quarts
Yeah.
in. Well, I think it only takes like 4.5, but
Just get all the moisture out there
try.
because we dried everything. We're doing it as thoroughly as we can here. Really sucks. Is that the last one?
That's the last one. And then I'm gonna torque these in a star pattern. Did you already torque the front ones down to get the RTV to seat?
It's smushed, yeah, so it should be good.
Cool.
Hopefully with these new bolts and the RTV, it shouldn't leak out the oil pan anymore.
Okay. Alright, I'll go get the ratchet. Goddamn.
Also get this sensor back in.
Oh, here it is.
There you go. Yeah, I would just do them like snug. I wouldn't do it super hard. But the new bolts are nice because all the old bolts were like stripping.
There's just one hole where the new bolt wouldn't fit, and it was this corner.
Yep.
I don't know what it is about that corner, but
Yeah, it's that one right there.
super weird.
But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and continue, and we'll be back once there's some more progress. All right, guys, we've gotten pretty much everything all ready to go. We've gotten the motor mount back on secure. I just left all the bolts loose, made it lining up everything a lot easier. Tristan's got the new gaskets. These ones fit. Definitely in that part in the rebuild series, we noticed that they were too large, so they were like binding up on each other.
Yeah, these were just like spaced a little bit more apart than they should have been, so they just weren't fitting well.
Yep. So, and then also we're putting RTV on it, and then also what else? Something else I was gonna mention. Forgetting now, remember later.
So the question, one of the questions was, do we want to put our TV around any of these?
I would say so, at least like in the ridges. I would say maybe front and back, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just unsure.
I would do it.
Yeah, you want to heat it?
Just on the coolant.
On the inside of it and outside of it?
Yep.
Okay. I guess we can put a little bit on the gaskets.
Not like a bunch. Nothing that'll like push it out. Just make it seal better. Yep. We can also put the balancer pulley back on. It's all ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and prepare these gaskets, get them on, and then get the lower intake manifold on, and then we can start putting the other gaskets on that we made. Hell yeah. All right, guys. So we got the gaskets on. We got RTV in the corners, RTV on the water jacket ports. Tristan just cleaning up this one last time before we go and put it on. Want to make sure all the gasket surfaces are perfectly clean, or at least smooth. But this is almost looking assembled now.
We're getting close.
Once we get that on, let's just let it set for a bit. Start working on getting like the front accessories on. Make it easier.
Yeah, more time for it to set. All right, I think I'm gonna hit it with the paper towel.
Cool. While Tristan finishes with that, just want to mention to you that we have a Patreon if you want to support our channel. We're working in our driveway. Come on, guys.
In the rain, except for today.
Not today. It's clear today, but it was rain the past 2 days. But yeah, we really appreciate it. All the money that goes into the Patreon goes to the channel. We'd also appreciate if you subscribed. All that just helps us, and it continues to allow us to do what we do here.
All right, she is ready to go on. This is a two-person job, though.
Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera down. I got RTV smudged everywhere.
Nice. These coolant jackets, sure as shit, should not be.
Yep. And if we find any more leaks, it's either the front cover or a cracked head.
Yeah, cracked
like
head.
Literally, there's nothing else. Yep, so got the lower intake manifold on. Just gonna snug it down a little bit, not torque it down. I gotta let the RTV set its smidge, but we're gonna go ahead and work on getting these bolts in, and yeah, we'll be back. Alright guys, the Bonnie has claimed blood on Tristan.
I just felt wet, and I was like, what the hell?
Yep. I don't know if we should show that and monetization.
Oh, man.
Anyways, yeah, so we got this on. Just the elbows in. It's not bolted down yet. That'll be the next part, but we got the balancer on. We got the wiring harness for that plugged back in. We kind of just need to zip tie it out of the way once we have everything set, because it needs to route a specific way, and it should be fine. Anyways, yeah, we're getting down to it here. We're almost ready to go. Gotta get the spark plugs and the front ones back in. Get that bolted back down with the alternator. Get the belt on, get the supercharger on and intercooler, and then vacuum lines. Then we need to add some oil and coolant. Those are pretty important.
That is pretty important.
You could also just run this with no coolant ever.
Then I would never have a problem with, you know, the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do that.
All right, yeah, sorry about the short updates, guys. We're just really trying to get this done today. So probably not going to be too many updates, but we just want to show you, where we're at. All right, guys, we're back. We had a base. You can see the superchargers on clearly. We had to both work to line up the gaskets and everything, which is always a hassle and can't really be recorded unless I set up the camera. But we got it on. One thing I was thinking of for the future, if we do this again, or once we do this again, is get studs that go all the way through. That way we can line up the gasket, the intercooler, the gasket, and the supercharger all in one go. They should all line up.
That'd be way better. Way better.
Instead of having all these long bolts and having to thread them through everything, if like one thing's misaligned, it'll mess stuff up.
It's like the retard method, because it just doesn't work well at all. Never has.
So yeah, as you can see, we're getting super close. You get the alternator on, get these all tightened down, give the RTV probably just a little bit more time to settle.
Also, all the people with the big boy superchargers, they have that. They use the studs. Just drop it on like that.
Yeah, maybe I should get some studs for mine.
Should, because I mean, you have the same problem, or you would have the same problem.
No, the
Or do you use
lower intake manifold and intercooler are one.
Oh, nice. That's how it should be.
So all I need is, and also they have individual gaskets for the cylinders. So there's no gasket between the lower intake manifold and the cylinder head because it's built into the cylinder head. So I just place it on the cylinder head, place my supercharger gasket on, place the supercharger on, that's it.
Alright, I think we got all them torqued down.
Nice.
Okay.
We're using our homemade gasket on this, so hopefully this works well.
Hopefully it does.
Boom.
Alright, they're all good. They're all good to go.
Now we just need to get alternator on, get the belt on, get the wiring harness kind of zip tied out of the way.
Oh no.
You drop the socket, noise. I'll start getting the spark plugs back in. And I think next time you see us, we'll have this put back together and ready to like fire up, or at least us be filling it with oil and coolant. All right, guys, we're going to be putting the fuel rails on here just a moment. We gotten all the wiring harness and everything, the intake back on. He's got the alternator on. Now we're going to put the fuel rails on, spark plugs back in, and then load it up on oil and coolant. And then it should be ready for a first start and see how it feels if it's vibrating. Can you imagine if we started and it's still vibrating?
Off to the
still
trash
shaking. Yep.
with
Hard
you.
out. We have a high mile SSEi for sale, guys.
Hey,
shoot us offers.
120,000 miles is not that high.
The motor has 170,000 miles on it.
No, 66,000.
168 that's what it was.
Shut up, Davis.
And you probably put like at least 500 miles on the Camaro when it was in that Camaro still.
Yeah, probably around there. Oh no.
Oh, fuel, hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we are at a point where we're just waiting for some RTV to sit. Everything should be back together. We did notice that there was some dripping. It's gonna be really hard to see on camera, but right down there, you see that
Post.
well, yes, I can't even zoom in. Anyways, that idler right there, right below it is a water pump, and the water pump has a dowel pin that aligns with, and the gasket even has a gasket for it, but literally out of that hole coolant was being pushed through. So
just from filling the car up.
Yeah, we had everything together and we saw it like dripping, so we drained the coolant again and we RTV'd it, so hopefully that does good.
Where's the magnetic tray with my lug nut?
It's on the fence over there. Yeah, so we fill it with RTV, so we're letting that set first. We're gonna give it like 30 minutes to an hour, and then we're going to fill it up and give it a test drive. We could even at least start it without the coolant, just see if it starts, see how it hears.
It was on the fence. Okay.
Yeah, right on the fence. He's gonna get his wheel on. Should probably get the drip pans out from underneath. But yeah, it is all together now. It is very eager to start. All right, guys, it has been a bit. There's no coolant in it, but we're gonna test fire it. We got the oil in it. Everything's all should be ready to go. And Tristan, were you really, so when it's like idling, are you able to tell the vibration? I think I remember being able to feel it when it was just idling.
Just barely, but if you rev it up, you'll know.
I gotcha. Yeah, we're not gonna run it very long without coolant, but getting heat in it might actually help cure some of the RTV. All the oiled components, the RTV should be set. It's just that front dowel that, you know, the water pump that we're concerned about. Cool. Everything out of the way. Do you want to check that wire harness one last time? Make sure it's not caught up in any belt.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think that we did a good job.
Yeah,
we did.
Cool. Do you want to prime it, get some fuel in there, and then watch for leaks? I'll watch for leaks if you want to turn the key on. Oh, field relay?
The fuel relay is not, because it clicked like 5 times. I'm like, what is
Yeah,
that?
I was up here, I was hearing it click, click, click. It is cold and dark out, guys. That's why we need a lit shop.
Did I hear heated and air conditioned shop?
That'd be amazing. And lit, like floodlights. Dead battery?
Weird. think so, because none of the dash lights are coming on.
Yeah.
Something's
What the
going
fuck
down.
is happening?
Yeah, no. Incorrectly.
Okay, well, I'll get my jump box. Yep. All right, guys, we made sure the jump box is on. Got the spark plugs in the right order again.
Yeah, I'm getting nothing. Oh, hey, look at that. Cool. We got lights.
Boosted.
Boosted.
All right, here we go. Attempt number 50. Did it turn off on its own?
Yeah. I don't know why the fuck it did that.
I'll just give it another try.
This is where it's supposed to be, right? Yeah.
All right, guys, I think we're probably gonna have to end it off here. We got everything, like it's in the right firing order. We jumped it, but when it ran, it shut off, but I think that was just battery power. Literally, I think the battery is bad again. It has been sitting for a long time, and we did run it a while with the intercooler on. The jump box, like the last time we did it, we got it on there, we turned the key, literally there was just a pop in and it just died, so it could have also been a fuse. So we're looking at fuses, we're looking at all this shit. I don't know why it has to be that. Literally there was no electrical problems before.
Yeah.
Now there are.
I'm gonna get a fuse or a relay to replace the starting relay, see if that works. Gonna replace the battery, see if that works.
But that'll give it time for that RTV to seal.
So stupid.
All right, guys, it is actually the next day. It got too dark, so we continue with this, and we figured it out. So
yeah, it is 4:18 the
Yep.
next day.
So water pump is actually still leaking. Once it ran, it was like circulating what was left in it, and it's still definitely leaking. I mean, you can see how much coolant has come out under there.
Yeah, what it is it's weeping on the underside of it, and so it was actually essentially coming out of two spots.
Yeah.
The dowel hole, and then
Too much for us to just seal outside. We're gonna have to remove it. And,
so I'm gonna remove
yeah.
it completely, and then RTV all alongside it, and replace the Felpro gasket that was new with the
better
better
gasket. It was
gasket.
reusable anyways.
Yeah, that I took off of it, which I had replaced.
Yep. So we were diagnosing, we're testing vacuum, like we're running it. It was hitting 15, which should keep it alive, but
yeah,
it would
we
keep
have
dying.
not filmed today, so
Yeah.
new battery. The
True.
car will start for a second.
True.
Only a second.
Yeah, I should have said that first. We have a new battery.
And it would not start at all. It would start. It will not run unless we hold it to like 3K RPMs.
Yeah, if we're like working the throttle, we could keep it alive.
Not good. And so Davis just had the idea, unplug the MAF, and now she'll run, not well because
Yeah,
she's
it'll
in
try.
an open loop, but it really makes no sense. This thing was working perfectly. It drove to this spot, as you guys know. I think it was in, were you filming then?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay. You saw it. And also, we unplugged this and left it here. We didn't bump it. We didn't break it. I don't see any cracks. I don't see anything
I have
internally
no
that's
idea
broken in the MAF.
how it could, yeah.
And so I really don't know why it could be damaged. However, it is. We unplugged it, and now it will stay running terribly.
Yeah, let's
And so I think
give it a run here.
I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and borrow the MAF sensor from Vince's Trans Am, since it's
incapacitated.
incapacitated. Good. For a while, and so we'll see if I can just get one from him and then buy a different one for him,
Or at least test it,
or at least test it. Yeah,
because it
so-
could be wiring or something. It could be a lot of things. Sorry, what was that?
It's got about 48 psi of oil pressure. The reason I mentioned this before is because we weren't actually seeing any oil pressure before because the thing was unplugged.
Yeah, we forgot to plug it in.
And because it's revving up, it's only seeing about 5 psi of vacuum. But let's look at the vacuum gauge. So it's actually sitting about where it should be at this RPM. So yeah, she runs.
It's it's fluctuating a lot, but it runs. And all that smoke is oil that we
Okay.
just dumped on the headers.
I wanted to, when we actually get this thing running, actually have it heat up through a whole heat cycle.
Yeah.
And so I think that we just need to get the water pump sealed right, I think I'm going to RTV the whole gasket, and then put the gasket on with it, and get the different math and see what it does. See if we can drive it down the street.
Also, when we were starting it, Tristan did mention that he wasn't really feeling the vibrations. Like, I mean, the RPMs were all over the place, so it's kind of hard to tell. Also, didn't run very long, but so far it feels like it's better. Yeah,
it does feel like it's better, because when the only way that this car was able to even run when with the MAF plugged in is we had to hold it at 3 grand RPM.
We just kept opening the throttle
at
here.
At that point, I could definitely feel the vibration, like back then when it had the problem. Didn't feel that now, so I think it's Gucci.
Now that we timed the engine properly.
But I think that is going to be our last progress update for today.
Yeah, definitely. And you guys don't really need to see us replace the water pump or replace the MAF. We'll probably next video have it up and driving on the road.
Yeah, tomorrow, hopefully. Famous last words.
Yeah, we'll see. But it's showing good oil pressure. The vacuum will just improve once we get the MAF on there and it's warmed up.
We could see this little guy venting out the crankcase pressure was kind of cool.
Yep. But yeah, that's going to do it. I'm glad we were actually able to start it. I was afraid we weren't going to be able to do that for a while.
I was afraid too.
But yeah, that's going to do it for today. We have a Patreon if you're interested in supporting us. We have behind-the-scene videos. And be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below.
Thanks, guys. Bye.